Yeah, it's potato time again. So I bought our seed potatoes, and in this box here I've got Charlotte's, which is a second early, and I bought some Kestrel. We tried those for the first time last year and they're really nice, so we're going to do some more this year. And in this box we've got some Marfonas. All of these are second earlies. I don't grow main crops, and we are still eating the Marfonas and Charlottes that we grew last year, and they haven't started to sprout or anything yet. We also have some pink fir apple over from last year, and I'm going to take some of those potatoes and grow those as well. So we'll have 4 varieties of potatoes this year: Marfonas, Charlottes, pink fir apples and Kestrel. And we are chitting them. There is a whole debate on whether you need to chit them or not, but I've bought them, and I feel that if you just leave them in a bag, they'll sprout and they'll get tangled up in the netting that they come with. They seem to grow through the holes and then you damage a lot. So I'd rather put them in the trays and chit them. I do chit them. But if you run out of time and you just buy some seed potatoes close to when they need to be planted, you can just put them in and they'll be fine. So the only thing about remembering what to do is, let me see if I can find one that's a good example when you're chitting. Yeah, here's one. So this is the top of the potatoes. You can see some very small islets around there. That is the top of the potato, and this is the bottom of the potato here. And I describe it like the potato has a belly button just there, so you know that that's where it was it was attached, the original potato plant, and that's the bottom of the potato. So when you chip them, you put them that way up, so the sprouts come. So you need to put these now in somewhere that's light, cool and frost-free. Luckily we don't put them in the shed because we've had some hard frosts recently, but we've got a room in the house that we don't have heating on, so I shall put them in there for a little while because you don't really want them sprouting yet. We will probably plant these, depending on the weather, around about Easterish time, maybe a bit before. Depends on how, because last year it was just so cold and so wet, we delayed planting until I think it was actually just after Easter. But then that does mean that when you lift them will be delayed as well, so that has an impact in itself. So ideally we will plant these towards the beginning of the Easter holidays, if not before. And yep, so we're getting ready for the new crop of potatoes. I'm going to share with you what I'm sowing today. It's the first week in, I think it's about the first week in February, just to let you know what I'm getting on with. Now, depending on where you are and what kind of setup you've got, there are all sorts of things you could start to sow today or in February. And there may be some more things that I will start to sow towards the end of the month. But I'm going to just share with you for now what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to sow my shallots, although one of them's not a true shallot. That's Zibrun and long red Florence. If you can hear some crunching noises, it's the cat that's come in for her lunch. Hello. Yep, she's come in and she's decided now to eat her lunch whilst I'm videoing. So the next thing on my list is some lettuces, and I'm going to sow a few Navara, some little gems, and some Genobu, red Genobu. and these will start here. All of these seeds will start here, and then as they come out and I prick them out, they'll go down into the greenhouse. And I've got some fleece on the allotment that I've taken off some other things. If you saw my previous video where we've been tidying up along the on the allotment, some fleeces have become available, so I can put these out earlier and put some fleece on them. So I'm going to sow some of those. And I'm also going to start my celeriac now, and that's because I've always found the earlier that I sow this celeriac, the bigger my celeriac are and the more successful I am by autumn time in the celeriac department. So I'm going to sow some of these now, and where I will be sowing things like the red Florence, the shallots, the lettuces, and these I'll be sowing in a seed tray. I'm also going to start off a few brassicas. Just a few, because last year I found that we had a lot of brassicas towards the end of winter and at the beginning of this year. So by about February, March, April time, many of our brassicas had run out. So what I decided to do, or we just had things like cabbages, but we didn't have anything else. So what I've decided to do for this year is to sow a very small number of brassicas, a mixed supply during the year. So I'm going to start off with some Calibres, Iron Man and Atlantis. This is more like a broccoli, and this is more like a sort of a single head broccoli, and these will give you little sprouts as they pop up. So I'm just going to do no more than 6 of each of these, and then 6 of each of these cauliflowers. That's all year round and snowball. And by the end of this month, I've got some green cauliflowers that did really, really well for us last year, so I'll sow those as well. But maybe I'll be making a video nearer the time and I'll share that with you. I'm also going to start sowing some spinach, and I'm going to grow some red kitten, and this looks really nice in salads as well. So I often grow this for a mixed salad bag. And some cuvetta. Now it appears that this spinach seems to go to seed slower than many of the other spinaches, and I think that's true. We did get quite a good crop, and then what we do is we get it all and then we freeze it and put it in the freezer, and we've been eating that all through the winter in curries and stews and stir fries and all sorts of things, which has been great. And this is my other favourite one, which is squamish, and that's another nice spinach. So I shall pot a few of those up, and I shall sow those as a multi-seed in a cell, about 3 seeds per cell, and then plant them out as a small clump, and they do really, really well for us. I'm also going to put in some cabbages. Now, there's so many different cabbages on the market. It's always hard to decide what on earth to grow because they've all got their different characteristics. So I'm always kind of scratching my head at what ones that we want to sow. So these are the ones I've chosen. Maybe you could share with me in the comments below what cabbages you're sowing. So there's this one, Calibos, which is a pointy cabbage. That does quite well for us every year. It's quite a big cabbage, or at least the outer leaves, so it takes quite a bit of room. But it is a nice cabbage, and it seems to take forever. So I'll start these early this year. And the Ramanov, this is new to me, and it's supposed to, I think this is a round red cabbage, and it's supposed to actually mature a lot earlier than many of the other cabbages. So we like this in coleslaws and salads, but I don't think this will be ready until probably late summer, autumn. But if we get it in now, the sooner we get it in, the sooner we get some. And then this is a new one, which is Sonata. And this is supposed to be, it's a white cabbage, but it's supposed to be quite sweet and good for things like coleslaws. So we're going to give that a little try. This is a favourite as well, which is a round cabbage, cabis, and that grows well. So we're going to give that, we're going to put some of those in now. And this is my favourite pointy cabbage for the summer, and that's Caraflex. And I enjoy that one as well. So again, I'm only going to sow a very few of these because during the summer we have an awful lot of stuff that needs to go in, so I don't want the brassicas taking up too much space. So it'll be a few of each of those brassicas, and I shall sort out a nice little corner that I can net them, keep them together and net the lot of them. Otherwise the pigeons will certainly eat the lot. And then the last thing I'm going to sow today are one of the kales, which is a Cavallonero or black kale. And we quite like that, and that goes really well in sort of side dishes for, we've got some borlotti beans that's left over from last year in the freezer, and it does a kind of really nice sort of onion, borlotti beans, garlic, and some of this I think we put it in some chicken stock, but it's really nice and it goes well with things like pork and stuff. So I want some of this for the summer months as well. So, yep, Cavallonero. So really, I'm not going to show you me sowing all of these because I've done that in previous videos, but I just wanted to share with you what I'm putting in this year. You can think about what your setup is and what you can reasonably put in. Don't forget, there's plenty of time, so please don't feel that you have to rush and put your seeds in. I've got a greenhouse, and so these vegetables will be going into the greenhouse and then outside to harden off and things like that. So I've got plenty of space. But if you're restricted in your space and your setup, maybe you don't have a greenhouse, it doesn't matter if you leave it and sow these things a lot later on. This is the spinach sown. These are the brassicas, all sown now in the cells, and I should just cover those, water them and leave them in, and as soon as they germinate I shall take them down to the greenhouse and then just prick them out into larger pots after that. I've got one little spare one there, so I might go down to my seed box and find what I can pop in there. It's no good having a spare empty cell. These are the celeriac, the monarch, and I'm going to put some vermiculite over the top of that, but I haven't got it with me at the moment, so I'll have to go down to the shed and find some. I'm going to put a layer of vermiculite over that. And here are the lettuces, and I had a bit more room, so I put a couple of more varieties in to get us going, and I'll sow some more lettuces in a few more weeks' time. So we've got start getting a succession sowing of lettuce, and I'm really excited because it's really nice to see vegetables going in and to think that we're going to be eating lovely, fresh, crispy, crunchy salads soon. So there you go. They're the seeds all in now. Different methods of sowing. This is what we're sowing in February. So wherever you are, happy growing. Take care. Bye-bye.